Rashford with a stunning opening goal. Another worldie for the catalogue. That's 10 goals since the return after the World Cup. Bruno with his 7th goal contribution in the last 8 games and a match-winning goal. And Weghorst with his first for the club in a semi-final as well. Imagine getting your first goal for a club in a semi-final. Some players have literally spent their entire careers nowhere near finals, never scoring in major games, and he's done it straight away. A brilliant performance from Manchester United, and Nottingham Forest made it a spectacle. Nottingham Forest, they came at Man United, they attacked. It was a proper semi-final. They had to get something here. The second leg is at Old Trafford, and in the end, it was easy. It was comfortable. It was professional from Manchester United. And look, I think 3-0. Look, 3-0, I would like more goals, but we obviously made some big substitutions. We took like sort of Rashford off and Antony. That I thought, listen, Antony had one where I felt so he was everywhere. He was brilliant. He just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. But that will come. And for me, again, I'm still someone that's going to back Antony. I get he's annoying for some. I get some are frustrated. But I think there's a player in there. He really, really is. When you look at the lineup today, just looking at it, a strong team started for United, barring Varane being on the bench. And we were always going to play a stronger team today, in my opinion, than we will in the FA Cup this weekend, because win this first leg well, it means we can rotate for the FA Cup and rotate for the second leg next Tuesday at Old Trafford, and then be nice and fresh for the return of the Premier League against Crystal Palace. Perfect from the manager, there's no doubt about it. And yes, Nottingham Forest had 13 shots on goal, but they weren't really that threatening. They did put the ball in the back of the net, but of course, we knew it was offside. It was great. It was actually good defending. We held the line well. It was actually well done by Lindelof. I thought was shaky in that first half, but another night for Marcus Rashford. Another night for the best attacker in world football right now on form. One of the best in the world. 10 goals since the return of the Premier League. And in fact, how many goal contributions in total since the return? So from the Burnley game, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 in goal contributions in 10 games from Rashford. And the mixture of goals is phenomenal. There have been some worldies. The last 2 goals he scored against Arsenal and Forest tonight, out of this world. The goal against Wolves stands out. But then there's the tap-ins that he's had as well. The mixture, the variety of goals, the one-on-ones. And what impressed me the most about Rashford tonight, scoring with his left foot. Scoring with his left foot. This is something we criticise him for, his head and his left foot. And he's adding goals with the left. He's scored a few with his head this year. This boy he isn't back to his best. He's gone beyond what we expected from him. And look, will he keep scoring at this rate? Probably not. Do I expect him to keep scoring in do I expect him to score in like 9 of 11 games consistently? No player's ever done that. Messi and Ronaldo, you actually look at it, are the only 2, but they're aliens. So no human being has ever done it. 2 aliens did it, but no human being. And Rashford isn't on Messi and Ronaldo's level. We know this. But it's phenomenal to see from him. It really, really is. And the goal today, I tweeted out Rashford is world class when he scored it. And of course, predominantly Gooners, and we know why Gooners are putting him down, because they obviously want Saka to be seen as the best. And I understand that. Bad defending this, bad defending that. But it wasn't. Rashford's just too hot to handle. Rashford did the same thing to Thomas Partey at the weekend. He's doing it to everybody. He's on fire right now. You could argue that Ben White has been the best right back in the league this year. Rashford made him get dragged off at half time. So we know how good he is. We know how sensational he is. And I'm just very, very proud of him. Very happy for him. And yeah, very, very proud indeed. Got a super chat here that says, we'll come back to that in a moment. This is from Josh, one of our members, says a routine win feels good for once. Respect to Forest, but we were supposed to get this result. Our standards are rising with Erik ten Hag back at United's standards. Appreciate the progress. And I think, Josh, that's what there was a lot of salty people on Sunday when United lost, and there was still an element of pride. And it's for me, I knew we had this game. I knew we would win today. And I'm glad we did. And we've won in a way which means we ain't going to completely rest. We're going to have to play a few stars next week but we get through that game. We'll win at Old Trafford next week. We'll probably win 4-5, 6-0 in aggregate altogether. And then we go into a final, which is most likely against Newcastle. And we are better than Newcastle. Our trajectory is in this direction. They're progressing, but they're teetering off a little bit. We will win this competition. Man United will win it. It's a monkey off the back of Erik ten Hag. And I also love the fact that he's kind of come out this week and spoke about the need to win trophies and its importance. Because for me, this has been my biggest issue with previous managers when they haven't really spoke. Like, I get you want to play down the pressure sometimes, and it's made people angry. And there's a lot of people that love United, hate Glazer United fans who are like, oh, he's playing things down. He's not mentioned in title races. He's come out today and said winning is basically all that matters at Man United. So there's no more slander for him now. He's laid the standards. He's getting rid of the Maguires and the McTominays. He's doing all the things we knew he would. It just takes a little bit of time. And of course, in the world of instant gratification, nobody has patience. We're all guilty of it. But I'm glad to see us progress in that way. Baz1 here says, Voot is just getting started. Listen, these are the kind of games Weghorst was brought in for. You know, the Arsenal game, if everybody was fit, he wouldn't have started. It would have been Antony Martial. We know this. But he's got a goal for us. And listen, the man's got a goal in the semi-final. All he needs now is one more goal, and he surpasses what he did at Burnley. And he will surpass at United what he did at Burnley. He'll score more for us between now and the end of the season. If he's fit, of course, he'll score at least 8 goals across all competitions. He really, really will. Held up the ball well today, played well, decent performance, helped us get the win. And then, of course, Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes. So maligned, so ridiculed, so disrespected. Go as a video I made. Barely any of you watched it, by the way. You all moan, oh, why don't you make content about other things? Well, if I don't talk about the trending topics, nobody watches. That's just the nature of social media. But I made a video back in December while I was in Doha, and I just said Man United can do it. And I said about top 4. And I said in it a few things. Rashford is going to come back alive. Told you all. I spoke of the importance of Martinez and Casemiro and what they brought to us, the progression of the club. But I mentioned very candidly in that, watch Bruno Fernandes come back alive when Ronaldo leaves. Since Ronaldo's gone, he got an assist against Wolves, an assist against Bournemouth, a goal against City, goal against Palace, an assist against Arsenal, and then the match-winning goal today to seal it, put the rubber stamp the direction United are going in. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 goal contributions in his last 7 games. We are getting our Bruno back. And there may be players with slightly better ball retention. There may be players who look better on the eye. But everybody better be aware that when Bruno Fernandes starts to purr, this guy scores, this guy assists, this guy's a match winner. 100 goal contributions he's now got for the football club. As a midfield player, for the amount of games he's played, he's above everybody. He's legitimately above everybody in Man United history for goal contributions per game ratio for a midfielder. In the opening, however many games they've played, he smashes them all. What he needs to add, and this is where you see my consistency, is trophies. If he can pick up a Carabao Cup and then FA Cups and Europa Leagues, he can go on to win some league titles and Champions Leagues for United with this goal contributions. He has the foundations to be a legend at this club and maybe even beyond that. Sensational, consistent football player. And there's no doubt about it that as the system improves, as the club becomes better, as the team becomes better, our star players start to shine. Just like you've seen at Arsenal, the parties and the Xhakas come alive when the team has become better. Same for everybody. You stick KDB in that Everton team for 18 months, 2 years, and watch him regress. You need a good manager. You need a good culture. You need good teammates. You need a system that's worked. You need a shape that your team sit in. And it's brilliant to see at my club. Oh, hi, Terry. I'm a junior world champion. I won at WKU. I know you did kickboxing. Give me 4 years. I'll be the next big thing. Trust me. WKU, I think, is what the WKA used to be. So it sounds like we fight in the same, fight and compete in the same association. I think the WKU is that. It may not be quite the same. I swear it is, WKU kickboxing. But it's the same logo. When I see it, let me see the logo here. No, it's not. I think it's the WKA, but WKU, I've heard of that. Well done, you. Congratulations. I wasn't ever a world champion. I got 2 bronze medals at World Championship. Won 2 World Cups that were basically the same tournament, which always confused me. I was a World Cup winner, but not a world champion. But I was a European and British champion. I just honestly remember one year, the World Cup and a World Championship one year. Won the British, won the Euros, won some other big tournaments, won the World Cup, went to the World Championships and come third. I couldn't believe it. My dad gave me a dirty look as well because you can't say you're a world champion. I said, I know, Dad, I know. The pressure was hard. I was like a trophy kid, one of them ones there. But there we go. Another super chat here says Allison and Edison have more assists than Antony. Grealish, who Terry says does nothing, has more GA than Antony this season. Pepe's first season, his GA was 18, and Antony has a GA of 5 so far. Antony has been a flop, fact. So keep the same energy and don't be hypocritical. The thing is this, my friend, I didn't call Pepe a flop in his first season. Arsenal fans did. I said he needs to improve. He's had a good foundation. He needs to go on from there. Antony has played this. If you actually look at the amount of games Antony's played, we can do this very, very easily to kind of have a little look here. Let's look at Pepe stats here. We'll go back to that season. We have to do it this way. You tease me into this now. He hasn't got assists, and we understand that. Let's go to Pepe's first season. On here, let's scroll back and go to, is it 29? Was it the 2019-20 season? I think it was his first season here. It may or may not have been. Yes. So he played 42 games and he got 18 goal contributions, which is good. 5 Premier League goals in that. Remember, Antony's already on 3 Premier League goals as an example. But if we look at it across all competitions, we just worked out. So 18 divided by 42 is very simple. Now let's have a little look here at Antony's statistics this season and look at the amount of games that he's played. And then we'll just do the math on it. It's really easy. We'll just do the math on it. So we'll just, so he's played 11 Premier League games, 5 Europa League, 2 EFL, and 1 FA Cup. So he's played 19 games. So 5 divided by, it's easy to do. So 18 divided by 42 is 0.42 goals per game. If you times it by the 19 that Antony's played so far, so he's ahead of him by about 3 GA. Can Antony catch up on that? Yes, he can. He's in the right positions, in the right place, and he'll maybe look to improve. He's also a couple of years younger. On Jack Grealish is in his late 20s, established Premier League player, playing in a ready fixed system. If Antony doesn't improve from this point and get better exponentially over the next 2 to 3 years, then I'll call him a flop. But after 19 games and only 11 in the Premier League, he's played less than 1,000 minutes. I'm not going to write him off just yet. I see promise in there. So, and every single season, we seem to be goaded into calling, not just at Man United, everywhere, players flops quicker. It used to be give them 2 seasons. Then it was give them a season. Now it's give them 11 Premier League games. And if they're not the best winger in the league, they're a flop. And I understand the price comes in. But the price is also a reflection of the age of the player and the potential longevity. You know, if this player was 26 with the career he had, with 1 year left on his contract, we would have got him for about 35 million pounds, maybe less. So you've got to factor that all in. If a big percentage, maybe 20, 30, 40% of his fee was based on longevity, you have to give him an element of longevity to prove that he's good enough. You can't judge a potential 10-year career on 11 games. That's how I do it. Jack Grealish, what I'm saying is he's 18 months in, and I don't think he does enough. And he's a £100 million established player. What is he, 26 when he got purchased? Already Premier League proven? Very, very different indeed, in my opinion. But let's see what happens over the course of time. Let's see what happens. And by the way, when I started speaking about Jack Grealish, it was well after a year of him being here in the best system with the best manager in the world in a very established team. Not a team that's in a rebuild on the way up. Let's give Antony a little bit more time, my friend. Let's give him more time. You know, and if he scored tonight, which he nearly did, then what would people have been saying? I feel like with Antony, if he plays and doesn't score, it's like, yep, flop. But yet Bruno Fernandes, this guy was scoring game in, game out for 18 months. I was, yeah, but what else does he do? And by the way, that's what you would be saying about Antony. Unless he's out there creating more chances than anybody else, scoring more goals than anybody else, everyone's going to say, what else did he do? Tonight, he was involved in everything. So he's involved in the gameplay. He just needs to add a bit more end product. He's young. He's on his way up. I believe in him. Let's see what happens. Arsenal versus Man United was the most watched Premier League game in US history. Of course it was. Man United were involved. Of course, Arsenal will play a part in that as well. But, you know, it's a huge rivalry. We can feel it coming back. And Man United coming back to the fore as well just gets everybody's juices flowing. And I am spot on, my friend, about this, and it is the way it is. People are trying to every club, every fan base is desperate for somebody else to be seen as a flop. That's all it comes down to. We've all done it. We've got the biggest flop. We've got to try and push it onto somebody else. But Antony's got time. The guy. Listen, remember the guy was the first Man United player in history to score in his first 3 Premier League games. I'm prepared to give somebody who's done that some time. No other player done it before. Let's give him some time. Ray here says, great win. Got stronger as the game grew. Yeah, we did. We got very good. We got much better as the game grew. Very, very strong indeed. This comment here says, Antony is maintaining our shape and pressing defenders. He is a right midfielder, not a right striker. The only thing I can say bad about him so far is his crosses. Yeah, I would say his crosses have got to improve. And I want him to run at some players a little bit more. I think he's faster than he gives himself credit for. But that will come in time. He's got to hit that gym a little bit, put a little bit of weight on. But let's give him some time. We're so quick to write people off, especially young players. I remember people doing this to Saka. Yeah, but where's the end product? I remember pure Arteta outwards. But where's the end product? Where's the end product? Granted, this guy's older, but he's come from a weaker league. So let's factor that in and let's see what he can do. But the guy has scored 5 goals so far in his Manchester United career. And I think he'll kick on from this point. I really do. Canadian Cam's joining me in a few moments to have his say. Are Arsenal and Man United good because other teams are shocking this season? Listen, my friend, when Man United finished second under Ollie a couple of years ago, I didn't push the notion that we were in a false position. It's a nonsense. Were we the actual second best team in the league? No, but that season we were better than everybody else, barring Man City. I think you judge who the best teams are over a 2, 3, 4, 5-year period, if that makes sense. You look at the consistency of results. But Arsenal have got 50 points out of 19 games. Man United are on track to having their best season ever since Fergie left. We're basically in a final of a Carabao Cup. The football's improving. The eye test shows you, along with the statistics and numbers, that these two teams are on the rise. And yes, Liverpool and City have fallen away. But if Arsenal were as bad as they were last year at times, if Man United were still where they were last year, we wouldn't be winning our games. We wouldn't be beating City just because Liverpool are bad. That doesn't make sense. So no, whoever's making that up on Twitter is an idiot, and you should unfollow them immediately because they're fools. Fools. I'll say this. If I'm Eric Ten Hag on Antony, I'm telling him to repeat today's performance, get into the central areas more, please. For me today, his best performance. Josh, listen, I thought he was really good today. I was like, he scored on a couple of occasions, and even Weghorst's goal was from a very good shot from him. Remember, everyone is triggered that Man United are on the way to being back. And they want Antony at 100 million euros to be the biggest flop ever. He hasn't been a massive flop. The guy keeps a shape. He presses. He defends well. He's involved in the play. Yes, we want more from him, but he isn't a flop. A flop is someone who, listen, you can be someone who scores goals but contributes nothing else to your team. That's a much bigger flop. But this guy contributes. This guy has been very good for us. And the fact is, Ten Hag has proven, this is all United fans need to have in their heads. Ignore the haters. Ten Hag drops anyone and everyone who damages his team. The guy dropped Cristiano Ronaldo. He dropped the club captain. He dropped the favourite of Jose, of Ollie, of Ralph McTominay because they damage his team. He isn't just going to keep Antony in there if he's hurting his team. The man don't care. He'd be riding the pine pony. But he isn't. He's playing. United fans, just remember this. Just remember it. Terry, then what's your excuse of Leicester City winning the Premier League? Well, Leicester City that year were very, very good. Let's not get that twisted. But there were multiple teams that weren't playing well that year. And it presented an opportunity for a team to go up. But they weren't on 50 points after 19 games. If just Liverpool, by the way, Chelsea weren't title contenders last year. They're not title contenders this year. Liverpool falling off hasn't made Man United and Arsenal better. It's made them better. By the way, if Leicester were as bad, though, you can't take away from Leicester's improvement. So if Leicester were as poor in the season they won the league as they were the season before, they'd have been in the relegation fight. So Leicester still improved. That element can't be discouraged. If Arsenal were top, though, on 35 points, you'd maybe have an argument. But they're not. They're not. The amount of points United are on right now would have you in top 4 at this stage of the season in pretty much every season up for the last decade, and we haven't been. So there's a fundamental improvement in us as a club. So yeah, that's it, my friend. And I think on that one, I'm speaking straight facts. Cam's with me now to have his say on today's game. Welcome back to the show, my friend. Another Rashford beauty.
Yeah, man. It was a professional win. Rashford's goal was wild. I just like somebody in the chat said like it reminded them of Giggs, just the way he took on everybody and didn't even think about looking. I loved it. He was just like, I'm not passing. I got this. And he just what we're seeing this year, like for a second, I was like ready to come on to you when you're like, he's not back to his best. I'm like, oh come on, Terry. And then you're like, he's better. I'm like, all right, cool. He is left foot, right foot, inside the box, outside the box, headers. It doesn't matter anymore, right? He can score from anywhere. Just keep him on that left-hand side. I think at this point, we've experimented. We've seen him go left, go right. I don't mind him on the right when you have to play him there, but like I think the experimentation with him is done. I think we finally have a manager who's came in and been like, you're a left-sided attacker, you're a left winger, and that's where we're going to play you, and we're not going to mess around with that anymore. We're not going to play you as a striker. He needs to get on the ball. He needs to be able to run with it. He's not somebody who wants to receive the ball with his back to he needs space. And now he's added, I don't care what anybody says. Everyone always talks about technical ability. Well, look what he's done the last 2 games. Like I think your point about him doing exactly what he did today against Partey is a perfect point. It's like, oh, it's just not important. He literally did it against somebody who we are seeing arguments about being the best DM in the league, which I don't agree, but people are saying it. So he just did it to him. It's no different now, right? So I'm loving it. The Antony hate kind of like today is ridiculous. He's just the new shiny toy for people to go at. He was our best player in my opinion. I don't think like we were like amazing, but like I've been saying, when you see Nottingham Forest now, we're professional. It's routine. The people are like, oh, VAR. I'm so happy there's VAR for goals like that because we did our job. Everybody's ready to skin us all. Look at it. It's like, it was offside. That's why they scored. Like, it was like clearly offside goal.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so all in all, like, we were a very professional side today. We did our job. Even the subs who came in, everybody contributed. I don't think we can let Pellistri leave. He looks a player. He looks like I'm not saying he needs to start, but he looks like a good player to come in and up. Come off and do a job. I think he should start the next leg of this. I also think Elanga had a nice little assist. Like the whole team looks good. Ericsson's got to rest. We're gonna give that guy a heart attack. He's got to rest. He's got to rest.
Well, I think he will in the FA Cup game, and what you hope is he rests in the FA Cup game, and then he's hopefully just on the bench for the second leg, and that would give him a nice sort of 10, 12 days before we play, about 10 days before we play Crystal Palace, which is now a really big game because we want to bounce back after 2 games in the Prem without defeat, and hopefully we're through to the next round of the FA Cup as well, and you want to kind of cement that with a good Premier League win. And look, I think what you were saying on Rashford, it was good for the other players that came in. I was thinking about this earlier today. Like, I think Garnacho's played a part in Rashford as well. Like, these Garnacho kids come in and looking dangerous, and it's almost like I've got to up my game to go to the next level. Now, if Garnacho has anything about him, he'll raise his game to the next level, and this is how you get better. I've seen a lot of fans at a lot of clubs do this whole, I don't want Rashford to stay because it will damage the progression and the career path of Garnacho. I've seen people do it at Arsenal, say at Chelsea. We don't want to. I remember a Chelsea fans. We don't want to sign a winger because it will get in the way of Hudson-Odoi's career progression. No, if a player is good enough, they will force their way into that team. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. And Rashford has essentially said, all right, young man, you want to get in this team? You're going to have to do better than me. And the gauntlet's thrown down, and you need that internal competition, and it's great to see. And Rashford, he isn't the best winger in the league right now. He is the best winger in the world right now because he's doing it in the hardest league in the world. And there's something significant about that. Yes, some stats show top 5 leagues, some stats. And trust me, when Mbappe and Messi and Neymar are no longer at PSG, the statisticians will stop saying top 5 leagues. The only reason they include the top 5 leagues is because they want to include the PSG players because they're so famous. Once that goes, like if PSG got sold from Qataris tomorrow and all those players left, it would be back to the top 4 leagues because it was never top 5 leagues until PSG got money And that's why the youngsters, guys, it's always been top 5.
I
No,
mean, way back in the day, the French league was decent, like way back, like when you were like way
yeah.
back.
Then it went through a long period where no
Yeah,
one cared what anybody in that league did. The same as no one looks at the Eredivisie stats and goes, "Oh my god, this guy's got as many goals as Haaland." No one gives a damn, right? And when those players leave, it will go back that way. If you look at the hardest leagues in Europe, Rashford is the best winger out there right now, bar none. I'm talking on form. I'm talking like
yeah.
in the build up to the World Cup and then this period. It's been 2 months now of this level of form. But the guy, and again, what I've also loved this week is people try, oh, everyone else done that celebration first. And it's like,
No.
loads of people have run pointing to their head. Rashford is different. He runs and he stops and he celebrates. It's a variation. By the way, most celebrations are kind of variations of one another. Like, I bet you could probably find someone that did something to Ronaldo's soul before he did it. I bet you can find something in a. I'll give you an example. Michael Jackson didn't invent the moonwalk.
Yeah, like the heart. Everybody talks about Gareth Bale. Well, Di Maria was doing it. Like they all, but you know what I mean? The sucking your thumb. It's all good.
I'll give you a football example. Fabrizio Romano, I believe he owns the copyright to Here We Go, but he wasn't the guy that, in my opinion, that made Here We Go famous. It was the UFC at the start of all their fights from the 90s. As soon as the bell rang, it was Here We Go. That's where I used to get Here We Go from. And listen, Fabrizio, he's got the rights to it. I don't care about that. But he didn't invent the phrase "Here we go." Like but someone makes it synonymous, and Rashford is making it synonymous. And this is how you know Rashford's brilliant at the moment. The fact that people are so triggered, they spend hours putting threads together to show that other people have done it before. It's like, you guys are scared. You guys are petrified. I love it. I love this game. I love it.
Or the people who are deciding to like. I've seen so many people, mask another poor performance with a goal, and then they'll find all the things he did bad in the game, and you're just like, it's tired now. I'm tired of it. It's so tired. And another player that I wanted to talk about, and this isn't just because I'm saying, oh, he scored a goal today. Like Weghorst, he's done what he's been expected to since he's come in. He's been in the right positions. For me, the goal wasn't the most impressive part. It was he fought off whoever four is on their team. He fought him off to make sure, like he won the battle with him to make sure he could get in that position, and then was in the right position to get the goal. Something we don't see from our other number 9 because he's not that type of player. And that's not a slight. I'm not bashing Martial. He's just not the type to get into the fights and be like there and thereabouts. So when people are like, oh, it was a panic signing and this or that, I'm like, listen, if Weghorst goes on and scores 4, 5, 6 goals for the rest of the season, and he says, I'm happy to stay at United for 40K a week, sign me up. Like I'll stay here for 2-3 years and just come in and play the League Cup. I don't mind that kind of player because he seems very happy to just be here. So if he just does his job, which is you play League Cup against Nottingham Forest, you score a goal. Cool. You're back to the bench. Like we have Kane or we have whoever we are bringing in. It's like you want to find those players. Like those are the right players to have around your team. Like you need them. Plain and simple. Yeah. It's like you don't just build a super team.
No, listen, and he's done well. And listen, I've been quite impressed with him in his games. Again, I've seen a lot of really negative United fans who've been like, what did he do? Mess this up. And I'm just sort of watching the game. I think he's finding his feet. Like, this guy's coming in to a new system and a new team with a lot of pressure, and he's played well. We actually weren't at our best in the second halves and of both the Palace and the Arsenal games. And I think that was due to pressure and, the expectation. We win this, we're in this situation. But we passed the gateway moment tonight, and he was part of that. And listen, I hope he scores in the next round because there are certain people out there, Have Hope's one of them, who will always say, I don't care about how many goals a player scores until they start doing it in semi-finals and finals. And this guy has just scored a goal in a semi-final of a tournament. And the same for Bruno and the same for Rashford. These are like Bruno and Rashford especially. There's certain sections of the United fan base. I saw one guy today, and I just blocked him because I don't get involved. He says he's a United fan, but his profile's all about Martial. And he had a thread about all the stuff that Rashford's done wrong since the return of the World Cup. And then he did another thread about how he stole the celebration. I'm like, how could you do this to one of your own players who is in... Listen, him not scoring against Palace hurts me because he'd have actually equaled Van Nistelrooy's record today if he'd have scored in that game. But this guy's on one of the greatest goal-scoring runs in the history of your football club, and you're finding fault with him. When someone does that, they are not a Man United fan. You can't behave that way and support the club. But the reason I'm proud of tonight's goal, it isn't the biggest tournament in the world, but it's another major goal in a major game for Bruno and for Rashford. And listen, we've been since Fergie retired, we've been knocked out of this competition at semi-finals by Sunderland. We've been knocked out of FA Cup games by teams like Swansea, in this last decade. We have been embarrassed. So we played a final of the Europa League against Villarreal that had never won a trophy in their club's history and got beat. So if we were on the Fergie and we won like this tonight, would I be as impressed? No. But this ain't Fergie's United anymore. This is a team that has, over 10 years, has fallen so far from grace. The fact now that we are essentially one professional result and one win away from ending the 5-year drought, I'm proud of it, because once that drought's gone, that's literally, bruv, the only monkey on our club's back.
Yeah.
That's all we get. Yeah, but what you won recently. As soon as we win that, that's it. You can go on to that next level now, and you can put motorway. And there isn't that. Yes, you want to win the rest of the trophies, but that pressure of not winning one for so long goes away. And for a lot of these players, for a lot of them, that is going to be a huge boost. And I think, look, Rashford's already got 3. I want him to get 4, but the player I really want to have a trophy and a winner's medal is Bruno Fernandes.
I agree.
His goal return and his performances since he's arrived at the club, and he had a bad year last year with the rest of the squad. I put that predominantly down to the way his position was changed, in terms of not the starting position, but the areas he was allowed to drift into because of the signing of Ronaldo. Ronaldo leaves. The guy's got 6-7 goal contributions since the guy's gone. And we knew that was going to happen.
And he's back to being the talisman. He's one of those guys. So, like, there's different, and we all know this in, like, any world. There's certain people who rise to occasions when they're put in a position to be the leader. When they're told, this is your squad, carry the squad. Ronaldo came in and basically was like, oh, I'm here now. It's back to being my squad. And Bruno, who's Portuguese, and anybody who knows it, like, if you ever, like, they worship the guy. He's very important to Portuguese football and everything. And it's kind of like a respect, like a reverency. Even if Bruno's sitting there being like, man, this guy ain't it anymore, he still has to take a little bit of a backseat, a little bit. He didn't fully. And I think that impacted him too, right? Because now it's back to, Bruno, you're our guy. You're the talisman. You're our captain. Like, you've been given the armband. Yes, we know Harry's there. And I love how he respects Harry and says, Harry's still the captain. You know, you're the captain. You're the guy now. So he goes back to being the guy and doing what he does best, which is carrying the squad. And when people are like, oh, you're nothing without Bruno. Sure. Like, Ronaldo was nothing without Messi. Like, everybody needs that guy.
Do you know a mad stat, right? Barring the Ghana game that Ronaldo played the majority of in, since Ronaldo was officially dropped from our squad before the League Cup game against Aston Villa, that week is when there was just talk he was ill, but it's because United knew that the interview was coming. They'd been kicked out the squad. Since Bruno was essentially put back into his position, he's played 15 games since then for club and country and got 13 goal contributions. And only one of those games against Ghana, he got 2 assists, was where, like, Ronaldo was playing. The game after that, he got 2 goals when Ronaldo left the football pitch. And, well, one of them, Ronaldo tried to steal, and then got the other goal from the penalty spot when Ronaldo left the football pitch. Then he got the assist against Switzerland. You know what I mean? And since then, since Ronaldo's been out of his life, he's played 15 games and got 13 goal contributions. This guy is the best outputs midfielder in the world. He is, and he always has been. And he, like, him as an individual, how many more goals and assists this guy would have if we didn't sign Ronaldo?
He could finish too, though.
Mate, the amount of people that miss his chances is crazy. But that 18-month, that year-long period, and look, some of us like me got excited about Ronaldo returning. I thought, okay, well, and I was in a situation where I thought, okay, we improved last year. We lost that final. They've given the manager a new deal. They're sticking with this plan. And even if Ollie don't work, they're sticking to this plan. And I always remember it falling apart. And then the saddest thing I saw when Ollie was sacked was the statement saying Ollie's built a squad and a team ready to win and we're going to push on from here. I thought, okay, well, you're telling us you built something. And then as soon as, like, Ralph came in, going back to, yeah, I'm here to see what needs to change and help the new manager. And by the way, 90% of it's got to be ripped up. I was like, I'm done. That means as soon as I saw that, I was like, Ronaldo's going to fall off now because he ain't meant to be here. He wasn't part of the plan of the club. He was just a commercial signing, and commercial signings never work. He leaves, though, and Bruno goes to another level. Ronaldo, and do you remember all the pundits? Who's going to score Man United's goals if Ronaldo leaves? Yeah, Bruno and Rashford are stepping up. Like, Ronaldo is one of the greatest footballers to ever kick a football ever. He's arguably the greatest
player too.
Yeah, he's arguably the greatest ever United person to play for United. I wouldn't say he's United's greatest legend because that's different to being the best player.
Yeah.
But it was time for him to go. And, 13 goal contributions in 15 games for club and country for Bruno since that point. And Marcus Rashford with 12 from 10. I mean, if you actually look at Rashford's since, I want to look at this as well from that same point, because he scored in that game. In the same 15-game period, Rashford's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So Rashford, since Ronaldo was kicked out the Man United squad, he has 16 goal contributions in 15 games.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And that's why I'm so happy for them. Like, I want Rashford to get the plaudits because, listen, there are some shameful United fans online and there's some of the, I want him gone to PSG. He's never going to get back to his best. You were wrong. And you haven't admitted you were wrong yet. And you've got to do that. And also for Bruno, this guy, I just need him to get some winners' medals.
You know what's going to happen when we win this trophy? It's just the League Cup. If people are already doing it, we're only good because teams are bad around us. Like, at the end of the day, it's fun. That's when you know you're back, because what else are you going to come with? Like, when people, the whole Liverpool thing is really interesting to me. Like you brought up, it's like, guys, Mane left. What did you, in the whole system, what did you expect? Like, every team, like Eric Ten Hag said it perfectly, all eras come to an end. And you have to look at what makes a team great, right? And we all could see what was probably going to happen to Liverpool when the feud started. It was, let's not kid ourselves, Mane and Salah, it was a bit of a, I'm just as good, I should be get paid as much. The team had to make a decision. We all knew that's when it was going to start unraveling, right? So it's going to happen with all teams. The thing that keeps City together is Pep, but we're seeing it now. You bring in Holland, you've got to change how you play. That's going to change the results you got. And your players are older. You're not getting Jack Grealish. People saying he's not a flop. Unfortunately, he kind of is. Like, the Jack Grealish we all expected and saw is a very different player at City. That's the difference with him and Antony. You can't compare those two. It's like we saw what Jack Grealish could do when he's the guy. He's killing them. He was unbelievable. He was worth 100 million. Now you're like, I don't know.
No, mate, I completely agree with you. And look, from my standpoint, I'm seeing so much salt, and I love it. And this is one of the interesting things. Like, I'm very unbiased. Now, that only makes sense if you agree with my opinions. So if I say something nice about Arsenal and you agree with it, you go, he's unbiased. He's a United fan saying something nice. If I say something detrimental about Tottenham and you don't like what I'm saying or you disagree with it, you think I'm being biased because I'm not a Tottenham fan. So being biased and unbiased is such a spectrum, but I'm not. I just say things as I don't say things because I hate clubs. I say things because I mean it. And I've defended Arsenal this year. One, because I mean it. But two, and a lot of United fans have switched off from listening to me because they're like, I don't get why you defend another club. It's also partly a prelude. This is coming from Man United. And all I'm trying to do is garnish myself with some credibility in the industry to be able, because do you know how much Gary Neville's going to get cooked when he starts waxing lyrical about this United team improving because he hasn't done it about Arsenal? He ain't going to be able to open his phone without him. I don't want that abuse. And I'm essentially doing it to avoid getting abuse for being a fucking hypocrite. And that's why people don't realize I'm doing it. Like, I'm doing it because I mean it. But it's like, I could ignore it all and just let that slander stay, or I could join in with it and have fun with it. Because every other fan, like, people go, oh, you're only being nice to Arsenal because, like, there's lots of Arsenal fans. But there's far more Chelsea, Tottenham, Man United, Liverpool, City together that hate them. So me jumping on the hate would attract far more attention than me defending them. But I'm doing it because when I do it for Man United, when we inevitably improve, I don't want to be attacked for being a hypocrite. Like, it's not my only motivation. The other motivation is I honestly give my
job.
I give my honest assessment. But I could easily lie and be like, no, I'm going to hate on them. Last year, when I was predicting Tottenham will finish in front of them the whole time, because the majority of the time, because they've got Antonio Conte, I was with Jess then. I didn't get with Jess start of the season. I was with Jess then. She wasn't controlling my opinions then. I didn't believe it. And if Arsenal fall off next year and they're awful, I'm going to say they're awful. But I'm go on, mate.
It's kind of funny when you bring that up, because I was labeled a Chelsea hater because I was so heavily hating on so many parts of Chelsea. Like, again, and I'm going to continue to say I was right. I told everybody about Kai Havertz. One goal does not change that. I don't care what anybody says. I told everybody at the start of this year, Chelsea is the team that will fall away. I called it. It's not because I don't like them. It's because, unfortunately, I know ball. I'm watching sport. Sport is it's easy to predict in certain ways and hard to predict in other ways. All the changes and all the things that were happening around Chelsea, you're sitting there being like, how can you sit there and expect this team to be as good as these other teams who have plans and are sticking to their plans and are getting better. How can you expect Chelsea to be like, it doesn't, maybe next year? And I get it. Like at some point, people will be like, can't be wrong. But yes, they will. If they stick to this new plan that they're doing on their youth and all that, sure. But how could you not expect them to fall away this year? It doesn't make sense to me.
No, listen, and I understand that. And look, for me, I mean this respectfully, I wouldn't call you a content creator. Right? You're a fan that comes on. You don't make your own content. Is what I mean.
No, I just come on. I'm a football terrorist analyst. That's what I am.
Exactly. And you don't need to be objective or fair. Your job is to be a fan. But obviously, like some people go, why do you pander to other fans? And I wouldn't call it pandering. I want to talk to members of the top six and other teams that come in, get involved. And I want to have honest conversations about their club. Nobody's going to talk to me if all I do is laugh at their club and belittle them when they don't deserve it. Like, I do laugh at teams still. Go back and watch my reaction to beating Arsenal at Old Trafford. Like, I didn't hold back. You know what I mean? It's just one of them things. But I'm enjoying the hatred people have right now towards Manchester United. I'm enjoying it. I know it's annoying them. I know it's getting under their skin. Because, listen, Arsenal returning to the fore is scary as hell. United coming with new owners. And I tweeted out the news today about it's probably going to be a full takeover in the next 3 to 4 weeks. It's going to intensify. And every fan was cap, lies, BS. I just go on their profile, Liverpool, Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Chelsea. I'm like, you're all scared. You're all scared. And you know
Arsenal
you
versus United. Somebody called me Cruella de Vil. That's really good. Arsenal versus United seems to be like, I can't, what a remarkable quote. Like, Eric's come down. I can't, like, it's going to be interesting if in the next couple of years it is now back to what we're used to, like when I grew up on, in a sense, like when I actually was able to finally watch the Prem and get into it. It was fading when I got into it because it was like, again, time frame hard to watch Canada, but that was the rivalry, the team that I was meant to hate. Like, again, like watching Sanchez and them destroy us, Wenger, all that, like it was Arsenal. I've always said to people, I've never considered Chelsea a bigger club because over here in Canada, it was Arsenal. All of my friends who are fans, I only have one Chelsea fan and a bunch of Arsenal friends, right? Because it was Arsenal. So it's kind of interesting to see that switch. It'll be very interesting to see if it keeps going, especially with brand new managers in my sense. Like Arteta's been in the league with Pep, but like these two new managers who are going to come up, and it'll be a fun, hopefully next few years to see who ends up coming on top. If we do get sold to the right owners, it will be us, because at the end of the day, you cannot mess with our buying power. You can't mess with our legacy and our heritage. It's just not going to be a thing. But it's going to be interesting, and now it'll be a head-to-head, like the stats. And I was watching on TV, they had like in the States, they had like a watch party for Arsenal United. It was like a whole thousands of Arsenal people, and I was just like, looks like people are back to at least saying they're Arsenal fans, right? Like they didn't go away. They just didn't want to, they weren't proud for years. So I think that's going to also be really interesting, and something about our manager where I think, like coming up against Reading, we're going to play a strong side. We're going to play, he's taking all of these as you said, at the jump, he's taking all of these trophies very serious. Like the league's there, but for him, the trophies are just as important. He's not resting anybody because,
mate. Yeah, and can you imagine this team as well? Can you imagine this team as well when he adds even more quality to it? So you just think about this team, and you just throw a Vlahovic up front or a Harry Kane up front, a Fernandes or a Rice or a De Jong. I'm just naming names here into the middle. We've got
Bellingham.
And look, maybe it's below, but maybe there's another top class right back that comes in. You throw those, if you literally threw another midfielder and a world-class striker into this team now, we would close that gap on Arsenal. Not because Arsenal were bad, but because we would just garnish even more points. So we're in a really good space right now. And I think rivals know that. That's why there's an annoyance there. And to the Guna Don Juan saying, Terry, reverse psychology doesn't work on me. I'm not doing any reverse psychology with Arsenal fans. I'm speaking the truth as I see it. My reason for doing that is so that I'm not a hypocrite when I say similar things about Man United in the weeks, the months, and the years to come. That's how I've always operated on the terrace. I've always been like that, and I've never yielded from it. I don't change. It's like I've said about Bruno. Bruno is a top class player, world class ability. But
you used to wax lyrical about Liverpool, which was annoying. Like
yeah,
for me,
I know, and it used to annoy me having to do it. But when it comes to Bruno Fernandes, I'll hold him to the same standards that I'll hold Harry Kane to. By the way, he has won trophies already in his career. He's got the Portuguese cups. He's got them. But I'll hold him to the same standard that he has to win major trophies in his career to ever be considered a United legend, because we're not Tottenham. You can't be a legend without winning trophies at our club. It's practically impossible. It's practically impossible to do that at Man United. So I'm going to hold him to those standards. And, you know, I'm very fair and very consistent. It just doesn't sound like I'm fair and consistent when one of my opinions, like in some people's eyes, shits on someone's favorite player. And I get that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get how it can make people feel. But at the end of the day, I'm just speaking the goddamn truth. It's as simple as that. Terry, you can say it. Sorry, you can say it with doing Arsenal videos every. You can say it with doing Arsenal videos every day. Kind of weird.
I think they're saying without, but like again, I'll say this since we've been doing this together. It's like whenever any team's been good, yes, your formats change and you focus on different things, but people forget there used to be shows dedicated to each team. Like there used to be shows dedicated, like where you would be,
and it is what it is. But at the same time, I'm gonna go with what's trending. So today, what Arteta said about this morning, what Arteta said today about buying a midfielder was trending news. I was looking at that. I was looking at the Caicedo news with Chelsea, and there was United looking at a new player. They were the three biggest trending topics on socials. The biggest was Arsenal. So I look at Google Trends, and there was 3 times as many Google searches for that as there was the Caicedo one. So why am I going to not talk about something that thousands of more people are Google searching? Because that would be, to put it bluntly, that would be stupid business. Like, why would I not put out there what the majority of my audience are searching? Like, it would be dumb. It'd be silly if I suddenly do a transfer story about Fulham that no one really cares about. Like, it's crazy. And the same people that moan about it, when I do videos that have completely nothing to do with Arsenal, they don't show up. They're not in the comments. Where are you? It's stupid. So, yeah, listen, we talk about what's trending and we talk about what's popular. We always have, we always will. And I ain't changing nothing. Chelsea will not be in this situation for long. We are still in the mix regarding how other teams approve. Our success has not finished. We will be back. Look, Chelsea will be back. I think I'll be back.
I'm going to say what I'm going to say here. I get it. They may be back, but this fan base, I applaud them. You guys can just be so happy on dreams and hopes. Like sitting in 10th. Every one of my friends who are Chelsea fans, they're like, yo, we're fine. Like, look at who we're buying. Let's see it work. Havertz, Werner, all those guys were all bought at the same time. It was supposed to be a revolution for 5-6 years. It lasted 2. Okay. So the hopes and dreams, I love it. And I completely see what they're trying to do, but I ain't giving them any props until it works. Plain and simple.
No, and I understand that, and I understand it. I think for me though, they're doing it a little different to how I expected. They're buying so much up front.
It's American way, dude. It's like this is what you do in the state. You get long-term contracts of young players. You lock them in. You get their value up, and you can maneuver. It's interesting. We'll see if it works.
You do understand the only way this doesn't work for Chelsea is if they get rid of Potter and can change philosophy again, and then a large percentage of the players they've bought don't fit that. That's the only way this don't work. Even if they get rid of Potter, but they maintain this is the philosophy and style of football, and they bring in a better version, they're going to be okay because that model has worked at every single club ever.
Like, they got to get rid of their medical staff, dude. They need to.
Yeah, I kind of get that. I also think there's a lot of players at Chelsea that don't want to be there anymore because they didn't sign up for this. Whatever this is, they didn't sign up for it.
Yeah.
And you know what it's like? If you're like training slightly below par and not putting as much effort in as you should because you're not happy being there, that's why a lot of these guys are getting injuries too because they ain't right. Like Pulisic and like Reece James, a few of these guys, they've got they're broken bodies. Ben Chilwell, they keep getting injuries. But a few of these guys, I don't think it's injury so much. You know, I think it's like, I signed up to play for Tuchel under Roman. No, Tuchel ain't here. Like, you got some of these guys. Listen, Jorginho is a great example. He ain't injured, but the man signed up to play for Sarri. He ain't got that no more. And I think for some people, it's like, I need to move on now that I want something different. And I think once those players go, you will see an instant uplift. The same as you saw at Arsenal. When Arsenal got rid of dead players, they improved. When United got rid of players that didn't want to be here, or we basically nullified them and shut them up, like Maguire. Maguire ain't leaking shit no more because he knows what's going to happen now. Suddenly, the team
Everyone would
improved.
be like that guy.
Yeah,
It was that guy.
Johnny here says, this is what makes your channel unique, Terry. You cover all the news for those clubs. 10 out of 10. Thank you, my bro. That's what we try to do. A lot of people copying our style now, but I find that a compliment because it's like, you're going to do a similar show. Your channel has been launched. And it's exactly the same, like different concepts, but the premise is the same. I'm honored by that. And do you know why I'm
Imitation is
honored
the
by it? Because
greatest flattery, right? That's the saying?
Exactly. A lot of guys that I now know that have generic channels, I knew them all when I first launched this. They were like, how's that going to work? No one's going to watch you do that. Now they're all doing the same. In fact, some of them are putting more energy into their generic channel than their club channel. So it's, man's a trendsetter here. But there we go. Listen, everyone that's tuned in, a massive thank you to each and every one of you. Actually, we've got a few more super chats here. This one says, Kino, Marcus looks like a proper fighting machine, is what he said there. It's funny, I actually quote tweeted something from the manager. Actually, the manager said this earlier on when he was talking. I quote tweeted it and said, "Love this. Freestyle football is back." Obviously, tongue in cheek. But Ten Hag said about Rashford's goal. He says Rashford's goal is an example of what he wants from forwards. The manager said, "Be creative in the final third to do something in the final third. Some crazy stuff, fantasy and adventure." The irony is, that's exactly what Pep didn't use those words, but Pep said it. I get you to the edge of the box, and then you guys do the rest.
And Ollie tried it, just didn't do the rest of the coaching. That's the problem. That's where Ollie fucked up. He didn't have the structure and system.
Yeah. The freestyle football at the edge of the box and the individual moments of brilliance. We need that. Joshua Jack here also says another positive tonight is I liked it for the cameos of Victor, Palestri, and Elanga because with a packed February coming up, they need to get game time. It's true. We've got I swear we played out 15 games in 32 days or something. It's crazy.
It was 10 either way, whichever way you do it, it's an insane amount of games in the time frame that we have.
Yeah, I get that, bro. Listen, I appreciate you coming on and chilling with me and doing this. Everyone who's tuned in, a massive thank you. Please hit the like and share button. Tomorrow morning, the Done Deal show with our brand new sponsor, Fan Stickers. You're going to love Fan Stickers, people. Proper digital stickers. They're like emojis, but they're not emojis. Exclusive ones for you. And some of you can even get your own personalized ones made. That's a Done Deal show in the morning with Ben Jacobs. 5 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, me and Big Steve launch our podcast, Straight Facts. Big Steve, the City fan from the top, the Big Six show, is going to be on the terrace tomorrow once a week. So make sure you're all tuning in there. That's going to be at 5 p.m. Until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.